Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a positive spin. Today, we're going to be talking about the much hated House of the Dead. Wow, I have quite a history with this film. One of my closest friends actually wanted a bachelor party at Dave and Buster's. He did not want the typical strippers, stuff like that. So we had his bachelor party at Dave and Buster's, and I became acquainted with House of the Dead, the video game, and I absolutely loved it. Had a blast with it. So much that I introduced my wife to the game, and she loved it. And we went up one weekend to Dave and Buster's, which was quite a ways from our house, and we played House of the Dead all afternoon. Kind of like a date night. We had some food, played House of the Dead, and you know. So when we got Sega Genesis, or is it Sega? No, it must have been Xbox at the time. We actually got the gun so that we could play House of the Dead at home. So quite an extensive history with this movie. Um, Both my wife and I were, and she's not really big on horror movies, but she loved the game. So when the movie came out, we were both excited to see it. And I'll be honest with you, I hated it. And I think my wife hated it too. I'm pretty sure she did. And it sat for 20 some years. And Joe and I were eventually going to do this for Positive Spin. And we were one short for the month. So I suggested, why don't we do House of the Dead? Joe said, okay. We put it in, and I was not prepared for what I was about to see. I actually really like this movie. I remember bits and pieces of it from 20 some years ago, but man, this movie is pretty fantastic. And I'm going to tell you why I think I didn't like it back then. I was kind of expecting this. We all have expectations when we go into a film, comic book films, video game films. We expect it to be just like the source material. And they're not. They do take liberties with the material. Most of the time, they have a lot of stuff in them that isn't from the thing we love so much. And I think that's um, one of the reasons why I hated it. Plus, tastes change over the years. And this is a prime example why I think a lot of people, you give it some time, but if you don't like a film, give it a second watch. Um, this really surprised both Joe and I because we both hated this film when it came out. And we both hated it for pretty much the same reason because we both love the video game. So let's put a positive, I know it's a big intro, but let's put a positive spin on House of the Dead. I like the references to Foxy Brown, of course, in the beginning, and also to George Romero. So, you kind of get your horror fix in that way. The big Sega sign at the rave in the background to me was just hysterical because, of course, Sega put out the video game, and of course, there's that big homage to Sega in the background. It's got a really fun cast: Clint Howard, Ellie Cornell, of course, from Halloween 4 and 5. Uh, Jorgen Prochow, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's also in it. Of course, the nudity doesn't hurt, and there is quite a bit of nudity that I had completely forgotten about this film. Um, I was kind of surprised. The snippets of the game is a pretty cool choice and inventive choice for the a film because when something happens, they would show. And I actually read a little bit of a trivia part on IMDb that said it showed a certain amount of snippets from the game. Um, Very few as the movie was going on, but then at the big battle scene by the house is where it showed most of the snippets. I thought that was pretty inventive and a really cool thing to do in the film. Kind of brought me back for the nostalgia of the game. The zombies look similar to Italian zombies, and this actually really felt like an Italian horror film to me because it was fun and kind of goofy at the same time. And a lot of horror movies, Italian horror films, have that way about them, have that certain charm. The music works, making it feel more like a video game. Um, Ellie Cornell is a complete badass in this movie, and I thought she did a really good job. I love the zombies running around in the forest in the background because it just reminded me more of the Italian zombie film, and it added an extra ounce of horror to it. And there was a zombie in there that looked like George Eastman from Anthropophagus, and I'm pretty sure that was done on purpose. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this film. I think expectations were what held me back before, and I do remember this part of the movie where you have the big showdown at the house where it was showing all of these um, different snippets from the game, and also the 360 shots of the characters when they were about to fire their guns, or kind of like a video game sort of thing. I remember really enjoying that and expecting the whole movie to be like that, and it wasn't. So I think that's where it fell short for me, were my own expectations instead of taking it for what it was. Um, Also, notably, this is one of the last movies to use that kind of 360 sort of camera because a lot of people get injured, a lot of the actors get injured when they use that sort of filmmaking. Yeah. I It just goes to show I was not looking forward to watching this. I know Joe wasn't either. We had both hated this for years, and it really goes to show that second watches sometimes. I mean, of course, this was 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, but second watches sometimes give movies a new life because all of our tastes change. And I really had a blast with this. And I'm surprised. I'm still surprised. I watched it last night, wanted to let it sit in for a while before I did my positive spin, and it really just blew me away. Um, yeah, surprised. So check out House of the Dead. Nobody ever talks about this because it is really hated. It actually has a 2.1 on IMDb. A lot of people think it's deserved, but I don't. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. So check it out or don't. But don't forget to check out Joe's positive spin for House of the Dead. Physical media matters. And until next time, peace.